Chimanga Moyo. Maize is life. It's a proverb you hear constantly across Malawi and Zambia.
Right.
And, when we hear things like water is life or music is life, we sort of think, okay, it's a nice metaphor. It means people really value it. But in this case,
It is not a metaphor, not even a little bit.
it's literal.
Oh, absolutely. It is the anchor of their entire existence. In Zambia, maize isn't just, a crop on a spreadsheet or some side dish. It's the difference between a day that counts and a day that culturally just didn't really happen.
That's the part that just blew my mind reading these sources. We're talking about more than 10 million Zambians who live by this one very specific rule. If you haven't eaten Nshima, this specific thick maize porridge, you haven't actually eaten a meal. You could have a steak, you could have a giant salad, a sandwich.
They're all snacks.
Just snacks.
Just snacks, exactly. Until that heavy white mound of starch hits your stomach, your day is, well, it's incomplete. But what we're really digging into today is that Nshima is doing so much more than just filling bellies. It's driving this massive and, frankly, pretty volatile economic machine.
And we are recording this in February 2026, and the timing is key here because the numbers coming out of the Zambian government, they're just staggering.
Billions in payouts just this week.
So our mission today is to unpack this white mountain. We're going to get into the really strict social hierarchy of how you eat it, the gender politics of who even gets to cook it, and why this one plant is at the center of this huge tradition versus nutrition debate that is splitting the country.
It's a deep dive into how a simple mix of cornmeal and water dictates social etiquette, national economics, and, even the future of biological health in southern Africa.
Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. For anyone who hasn't encountered this, if I walk into a home in Lusaka and I'm served canned Nshima, what am I actually looking at?
Okay. So, you might have heard of it by other names. It's ugali in Kenya, sadza in Zimbabwe.
Right, I've heard of ugali.
Broadly, it's the same family. In Malawi, it's Nshima. In South Africa, it's pap. But at its core, it's very simple. White maize flour, they call it mealie meal, and water. You boil it into a thin porridge, then you add more flour, and you beat it until it becomes this stiff, dense dough.
See, but dough just feels like it undersells the psychological weight of it all.
Yeah.
I was reading this one story, almost like a legend from the 1950s, about a headman Kazaru.
Ah, yes. The Kasaru story. It's a perfect place to start.
So what's the deal?
So this headman, Kasaru, he has to walk to the district commissioner's office. It's a long way. He leaves at dawn. He's in a rush, so he skips his morning Nshima.
He figures he can just power through.
I guess so. He walks for miles, gets to the office, he's waiting in line, and he just drops. Passes out cold on the floor.
Wow.
Now, you or I, we might look at that and say, okay, heat exhaustion, maybe dehydration, a low blood sugar, something like that.
Sure. Logical explanations.
Yeah. But when they revived him and finally gave him a plate of Nshima, his explanation was very, very specific. He didn't blame the heat. He didn't blame the walk. He said, hunger is as tough as a tree.
Hunger is as tough as a tree. What does that even mean?
It means that without Nshima, the body just gives up. It's a psychosomatic dependency. The belief is so real that no other food can provide the specific kind of energy you need to function. It's not just about calories. It's about vitality.
So it's like the ultimate comfort food, but also a biological necessity in their minds. Okay, so if I'm at that table, I can't just pick up a fork and dig in, can I? The etiquette seems intense.
Oh, incredibly high stakes. It's a ritual. It establishes your place in the social order right there. And it starts before the food even shows up. But the diwasha.
Are they hand washing?
Right. But it's not just about being clean. You don't wash your own hands. The youngest person at the table has to pour the water for the oldest.
Ah, so it creates an immediate, visible hierarchy.
Instantly. And once the food is there, no forks, no spoons. This is a hands-only meal.
But there's a specific technique, right? You can't just grab a fistful.
No, absolutely not. You use your right hand only, never the left. You pinch off a lump of the hot shima, and then you have to roll it in your palm until it's a smooth, perfect ball.
Okay.
And then, this is the key step, you use your thumb to make a little indent in the middle.
You're making a spoon. You're sculpting an edible spoon.
You are, because Nshima on its own is, well, it's pretty bland. It's the canvas. You use that dough spoon to scoop up the indiwo. The relish.
Okay, we have to define relish. Because in the West, relish is that green pickled stuff for a hot dog.
Right. A totally different thing. Induo is the main event, flavor-wise. It can be beef stew, fish, or very often vegetables like pumpkin leaves or rape greens.
So the whole meal is that interplay between the starch and the flavor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the language around it proves it. If you have to eat Nshima without any relish, there's a specific word for that suffering. Kusosa.
Kusosa. That sounds awful.
It means you're poor, you're struggling. But here's the twist, and this shows how vital the starch is. If you do the opposite, if you just eat the delicious stew or the vegetables without the chanshima, that's called kusinka.
And that's bad, too.
Oh, it's considered rude, greedy, almost childish. It shows you don't know how to eat a proper meal.
It's like only eating the icing off a cake.
That's the perfect analogy. You are violating the balance. The meal is the combination.
Okay, so eating it is an art, but cooking it sounds more like a workout. The sources call it heavy Play-Doh.
It's physically exhausting work. As that starch gelatinizes, it gets incredibly thick and heavy. You have to beat it against the side of the pot with real force. And that brings us to the most important tool in a Zambian kitchen, the matiko.
The flat wooden spoon.
Yes. And this simple object is where the gender roles become extremely rigid.
How so?
In traditional homes, the fintiko is 100% a woman's tool. There's a powerful taboo that says men, or even boys who've hit puberty, cannot use it.
Is that just a general men don't belong in the kitchen thing, or is it specific to that spoon?
It is absolutely specific to that spoon. The belief is that if a man handles the mniko, it will compromise his masculinity. Some traditions even say a man shouldn't eat food directly off of it.
Wow.
Meanwhile, a woman's skill with that spoon, how smooth her winshima is, that's a measure of her worth as a homemaker.
The pressure is all on her. And looking at the chemistry, they're not just stirring. They're doing some pretty amazing food science with, limited tools. I was fascinated by this ash water.
Chijulo. Yeah, this is brilliant indigenous chemistry. So you have these tough, wild vegetables, right? Maybe a bit fibrous.
Okay.
If you just broil them, they might stay chewy. So what they do is take banana leaves or maize stalks, burn them to ash, and then they strain water through that ash.
Sounds a bit like making lye.
It's the exact same principle. They're creating an alkaline solution. The high pH breaks down the tough cellulose in the vegetables way faster. It tenderizes them and adds this unique salty flavor without using actual salt.
That is just incredibly resourceful. And then they add peanut powder to it.
Kutendella. Yeah, you pound raw peanuts into a fine powder, stir it into the greens. It adds so much flavor, but nutritionally, it's a game changer.
Adding protein and fat.
Right. You're taking a simple bowl of leaves and making it a much more complete meal. In tough times, that peanut powder is literally a lifesaver.
It actually sounds delicious. But there was a quality control method. You mentioned that. Well, it terrified me. The finger test.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't try this at home. If you serve undercooked Nshima, it's called Nshima yabisi, it's a huge embarrassment.
It means it's raw inside.
Exactly. The heat hasn't gotten to the center. So to test it, an elder might just plunge their finger straight into the steaming hot mound of porridge.
Into the boiling food.
Right into it. If the finger goes in easily and doesn't get burned, it means the inside is still cool and raw. If it burns your finger, well, then it's ready to eat.
I think I'll stick to a thermometer, thanks. So, okay, Nshima is culture, chemistry, identity. But we have to pivot to what's happening right now in 2026 because it's also a massive line item on the national budget.
It's not just a line item, it is the economy. Just this week, the government confirmed the payout for the 2025 marketing season.
And the numbers are huge.
They're enormous. They paid out K11.3 billion. That is about 593 million US dollars.
And that's going directly to maize farmers.
To over 846,000 of them, yes.
Yeah.
This is the government buying maize for the national reserves. And just for context, the Food Reserve Agency, the FRA, their target was to buy 500,000 metric tons.
Okay.
They ended up buying 1.6 million.
Wait, they bought more than triple their target.
307% over target. It was a massive, massive bumper harvest.
Which, on the surface, sounds like great news. Food security is solid, but there's a tension here, isn't there? It feels like the entire country has all its cobs in one basket.
That's the monoculture trap. Maize is political. If the price is too high for people to buy Nshima, the government could fall. If the price is too low for farmers to make a living, the government could fall.
So they pour billions into it.
But that's a huge risk, biologically.
Because of pests. I saw something about worms.
Exactly. The reports mention a big outbreak of fall armyworm in the Asoka district right now. It's hitting thousands of hectares. When your entire national diet and a huge piece of your economy depends on one single plant, a worm,